Hello everybody and welcome back, where today I want to talk Blade and Sorcery. Now, we know it's coming to PSVR2 at some point, most likely. The porting process is already a fair way through, and I'm sure there'll be a certification in no time. But the real question we had a little while ago was mods, and mods were a big maybe, but leaning towards a no. However, one of the solutions they put forward was that they can make a curated mod list, so some of the most popular mods could be brought over from Blade and Sorcery PC, with the help of the modders, if they were okay with it, and sent over to PlayStation as part of a mod package that you could either purchase or download separately. So today I'm going to go through the mods that I enjoy on Blade and Sorcery. Some of them will be the most popular that you've already seen, some of them won't be, but they're the ones that I personally run a lot of the time and I enjoy. If you have any ones that you use all the time and would love to see come over to Blade and Sorcery on PSVR2 and like a mod pack or something, or a downloadable piece of DLC, then please do let me know. Anyway, before we get into this, only 25% you are subs to the channel, so please feel free to do so, and thank you to our patrons and members who are all on screen right now. Let's get into this, shall we? First and foremost, let's start off with one of the ones that would actually be feasible, because some mods would have problems with copyright for sure, but these ones are more quality of life that I'd love to see come over to PSVR2. The first one is better decapitations. This sounds really morbid, and to be honest, it is. It just makes it so if you slice an enemy's head off, they react a bit more realistically and adds a bit of that brutal vibe to the game. There's a couple of mods that do this, but the one that I use focuses mostly on the decaps, but there are some other ones that improve dismemberment all over the body. And for weapons such as lightsabers, which we'll talk about in a bit, it can really add to the punch of those weapons and how visceral they can be. The same goes with the next mod, which is the bisect mod. This doesn't happen very often, but the mod basically allows you to cut an enemy in half. Again, it's a bit of a rare occurrence sometimes depending on what weapon you're using, but when it does happen, it really is brutal. And for a game that's focused on melee combat, it really adds to the immersion factor by allowing you to slice through countless enemies in whichever way you want. Another quality of life mod that I'd love to see come over would be the enemies can't leave mod. Essentially, if you disarm an enemy in an arena, they'll try and look for the nearest exit if they can't pick up a weapon to continue fighting. And even sometimes when there is a weapon nearby, they'll just run for the exit anyway. This mod takes away that exit point, so they have to stand and fight you. This just leads to some more fun fights because you're no longer having to chase them down and they don't give up immediately, which they do in the vanilla game sometimes. And overall is a quality of life change that I do enjoy. Next up, let's talk some of the ones that are a bit more outlandish. They're very popular mods and awesome ones, but they would be a bit harder to bring over because of copyright. Let's start with a legendary mod that is now upgraded to 1.0, which is the Outer Rim. This adds weapons, equipment, enemies, armor, and maps from the Star Wars series. It's a couple gigabytes big and will allow you to take on the Star Wars duels of your dreams. Whether you want to clear an outpost full of Jedi, or 1v1 against the Sith, or take on an ambush of clone troopers, this mod is for you. Not only does it have the iconic lightsabers, with many from the expanded EU, and also the animated shows, but it has ranged weapons too, with a variety of rifles, pistols, and explosive launchers. The maps are great as well, most of them ported from Battlefront, I believe, the originals, meaning you can really get into the Star Wars mood during your fights. The same can be said for the Realms of the Rings, which essentially adds a load of Lord of the Rings locations, such as Weathertop, with Lord of the Rings weapons and Lord of the Rings enemies. If you want to fight against the forces of Gondor, or Mordor, or even the Nazgul, this mod is for you. It's seriously cool, I really enjoy this one, and combined with the Outer Rim lets you live out the fantasy of fighting the Nazgul with a lightsaber. How cool is that? There's quite a few Gondor and Orc models in here, so there's a bit of variety as well, and even though there are only 2 maps at the moment, it's sure to get updated in the future. That's one thing though, if it was brought over to PSVR2, the devs would have to keep on updating it, and I'm not sure how easy that would be in terms of keeping it up with this platform, but honestly, in the current state that it's in, I would still take it because it has more than enough content to really keep you going. A mod that focuses more on a map, but a linear campaign story map, is the Infinity Blade mod. Now, if you used to have an old iPod or iPad back in the 2000s, then you would have probably played Infinity Blade on it. Infinity Blade was a hack and slash game that was also a roguelite, but the entire game, with its maps, enemies, and weapons, has been ported to Blade and Sorcery. You're able to jump in and fight against each enemy with accurate animations and weapons, and battle your way through the Infinity Blade castle exactly how you did in the old game, and I really love this one. Custom stages like this are awesome, and I hope that a couple of them would get ported over if limited mod support did happen, because it really adds a bit more content around the main game and levels that you get with Blade and Sorcery. There are a couple of maps that I really enjoy as well, such as the Volcano. Custom ones like this would be great to see ported over, just to add a bit, again, of variety to the base game content. Just adds a sense of scale and wonder that I don't really get with the base vanilla maps. Penultimately, a mod that I use that focuses only on weapons is the quite popular Katana Mega Pack. This includes full sheaths for all the weapons as well, meaning you can have those cool samurai moments of pulling out your sword before fighting an enemy. They're really well modeled, the hitboxes are nice, and the weapons handling is spot on. There's a ton of weapons to choose from as well, from tantos to katanas to tachis. Depending on what you want, you're all covered here for Japanese weaponry. And finally, the same can be said for the Helldivers mod, which adds automatons into the game for you to fight, and also Helldivers armor if you want to use that. For me, though, the main ones would be the quality of life changes, like the enemies can't leave and the better decaps and bisecting. These just add a bit more variety into combat. It might be a bit hard to get past Sony QA because they are just straight up brutality and gore mods, I guess, but it does just give you more combat options in terms of attacking the enemy and having duels. And it gives them a bit of a dramatic flair at the end if you end your opponent by cutting them in half. Overall though, those are the mods that I enjoy on Blade & Sorcery on PCVR. There are plenty more on mod websites that people really enjoy, but for me, these are the ones that I daily drive on Blade & Sorcery. Let me know what you enjoy in the comments below, and I hope to see you all in the next one.